Hi, everyone. Let me know if you see me. All right, let's double check here. All right, I see myself. I see an eyeball on there. Hold on here. Drop a hello if you see me. Just gonna make sure here. Okay, hold on. Let's just double check. I see 9 eyeballs have joined me. Drop a hello if you see me. I see Sherry. I see Kamiko, Natalie. Awesome. Let me just make sure. All right. I see Dana, Jennifer, Tracy, Maricela, Cindy. Awesome. Awesome. Good to see all of you. Awesome. So thank you. I'm thinking like I have to wear the summer stuff before it gets cold. It's going to get cold really fast here in September in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So I'm like, pull out all my summer stuff, finish wearing them so that I don't feel like I wasted my clothing. So the summer theme is still on. You can't hear? Can you guys hear me? Debbie says she can't hear me. Okay, I see Becky, Chandra, and Michelle. Awesome. 25 eyeballs. Awesome, awesome. All right, so if you're here with me, this is live number 126. Hi, Yvonne, good to see you. The top workout tips for women over 40, getting strong and fit. So I know that if you joined this group, you are very excited to learn about building muscle because the community is called Fierce Women Community, right? Where we sculpt powerful bodies and champion mindsets. So I'm excited to talk about this topic. To be honest, I think that there's a lot of principles I'll talk about today that you can hear me. Awesome. That is important workout tips for everyone, not just women over 40, but I am going to allude to some things that happens in your body over 40 that you have to be more aware of and why you want to train a certain way. Okay. So if you're here for that, you are going to get some information in regards to that. So we're going to start with some announcements first. So first off, huge, congratulations or cheering on all the ladies in the end of the summer workout challenge. How many of you are in the challenge right now? Put challenge if you are in the challenge right now. We want to give you a shout out. You guys are doing amazing. I am reading some comments, and I see a lot of you enjoy my specialty workouts. That special lunch combo that you see there, that's my specialty. I created it. No one ever taught me that. I just like to combine things together. There's a few other ones that you guys say you guys really like dive bomber push-ups, windshield wipers. So awesome. Great job that you guys are in the challenge. Maricela, Wanda, awesome. So cheering you guys on till Friday. You're going to do your weigh-ins on Friday morning, but you're going to do one more workout on Friday. So cheering you on. I also want to give huge congratulations to a few new people joining my programs, which is super exciting. So Rosanins, if you're on here, we just call her Rose. She just joined the transformation program last week, and we're so excited. We're getting started with her assessment on, I think, Friday here. So I'm gonna custom build out her workout programs and all of that. So super excited for you, Rose. I see lots of hearts for her. Jennifer Parson, if you're on here, she also joined the transformation program, and we're just figuring out some final details for her, but I know that she's an amazing woman. There's a lot of things she's handling, but she just knows she needs to make changes in her body. So thank you for the hearts for cheering her on. Also, I want to give a shout out to Dawn Richardson, who, if you're on here, Dawn, she pre-register for our next FFF program. So we are in the midst of our FFF program with Yvonne, with Kathleen, who jumped in here, but she already secured her spot for the next FFF program. So Dawn, really excited for you. I want to also give a shout out to the 21-day anti-inflammation system participants. If you are in that, I know a lot of you are on here are in that. Portia, who else? I just saw a couple names on here. Shenika, Wanda, Sylvia, a lot of you guys in that program. I just want to give you a shout out. Now, I don't have all 16 members' results. Not everyone posted results, but I did want to give a shout out to the ones who did post results. And if you didn't post it, but you did the program, I'm still super proud of you. So Shenika Sebastian, she lost a total of 9 inches off and 3 pounds. And her belly definitely has shrunk. Wanda Mercury. Wanda, are you on here? I think I saw you. I don't know, Wanda, do you know how many inches you lost? You guys are ready? She lost 31.2 inches off her body, which is crazy. And 7.8 inches off her belly, and 4.8 pounds in just 3 weeks' time. So Wanda, super proud of you. I know she's been in this group for a long time and kept saying she doesn't know how to fix, like, she knows she's inflamed. She doesn't know how to kind of help her body. And I know, Wanda, you've learned so much in this 21-day anti-inflammation system. Thank you for cheering on the ladies. I really appreciate you guys encouraging other women. Sylvia Hildebrandt, which is Silver, her Facebook name Silver. She lost 11.3 inches with 5.25 inches coming off her belly and 5 pounds in 3 weeks. Sandy Kessinger, you lost 13.5 inches and 4.1 pounds. Portia, you lost 8.5 inches and 5 pounds. And Kimiko, Kimiko, if you saw her picture, she's very lean. So she lost 1.5 inches in her belly and 3.2 pounds, but now she has shredded abs. I don't know if you saw my picture. It's probably still up in the stories. It's like she's already lean and she went through the program and got shredded abs, basically. So these ladies did amazing. In the 21-day anti-inflammation system, I would say average ladies lost about 5 to 8 inches off their belly. So if you are on here watching and you have trouble with your belly, it really doesn't have to. There is a part to it that's going to take time, like building muscle, which we're going to talk about in this live. But there's a part to it that your belly is largely due to inflammation, and you can lose, 7 to 8 inches in a matter of a few weeks if you know what you're doing and understand nutrition, right? Ladies, in the 21-day program, how much you learned about nutrition, how much you learned about inflammation, right? So just huge shout out to all you ladies who went through that program. Awesome. We have 28 eyeballs on here, and I know you guys want me to get into the topic, so I'm jumping into the topic. I see Balboa, Survivor, Allison, Amy, Anna, Teresa, Keisha, lots of people. Awesome. Really great to see all of you. Yeah, Wanda, I'm so proud of you. I just, if I can give a shout out to Wanda, the reason why I'm really proud of her is because Wanda is, she's retired, I believe, and she doesn't have the best financial situation, but she just kept saying, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to keep saving money. I'm going to keep saving money. I'm going to make it happen. And she did it over months and months and months. She's been in my group for 2-3 years, and she finally made it happen in a program. And look at her results. So I'm so proud of you, Wanda, because you had the desire to make it happen, and it happened, right? And look at your results. So Micah, Micah, we'll tag you because I posted the results of the individuals on Tuesday. So Micah, I will come back around and tag you, or Debbie can tag you on that post that has all the results. Okay. Awesome question. All right. So let's talk about top workout tips for women over 40. I'm going to go through 9 tips. To be honest, I don't think they're in any particular order. I was just going through in my head, okay, these things I really want to talk about, and they're all important. And in a sense, they're all related. Certain points kind of connect with other points, but I'm just going to name off 9 crucial points. Okay. Yes, Wanda, you're not done. We're going to still work with you to get more results for sure. Okay. So the first thing, the top part of the top workout tips for women over 40 is prioritizing strength training with the right technique. Okay. Now, prioritizing strength training is really important because a lot of women tell me, hey, I exercise. And I ask them, what are you doing in your exercise? And a lot of women will say, I do this, I go for walks, I do this. And it's not necessarily resistance training. So make sure that you are prioritizing strength training. And the reason is because at age 30 is when your muscles start to decline. Right? Zena is down here. Zena, Zena's actually a competitor, right? Zena, yeah, I seen you actually compete. So congratulations. So at age 30, your muscle starts to decline. And it declines at a 3 to 5% rate for every decade. and it rapidly increases after 60. So you really want to ensure that you are lifting weights, not just exercise, not just doing some group class cardio thing. I love dance, you know this, and Zumba, but no, you need strength training. Okay. Yes, Zena, I know you do compete. Yes, I know. And congratulations, you look fabulous. So, in terms of, I said the point I made was prioritize strength training with right technique. Okay. So I want to talk about this for a second, because how many of you have seen women go to the gym years after years after years after years? I mean, I've been in the gyms for over, a decade plus, probably 15, 20 years now. And like you see people and their body doesn't change, right? How many of you have seen that? Hi, Diana, to see you. Diana's in my muscle accelerator program, where they don't change. And it's like they keep coming back to the gym, but it's like Groundhog Day, same thing over and over again. So why I want to talk about, like, it's not just strength training, you need prioritize, but right technique is, it's really important that what you do produces results. If you have followed me for a while, I know Shoni is always the first one to say, if you work with Clarice, she wants results. I want results. I want to see results on your body. So it's about, how do you ensure you have the right technique behind your training? So I talk about in my methodology DNA, which D stands for do it right, do it hard, and do it in your mind. So let's talk about this for a second. Okay. 31 eyeballs. Awesome to see all of you. So do it right means you're hitting the muscle properly with the right technique. Okay. So this is really important, because I feel like sometimes, and a lot of women, they don't actually have enough body awareness to actually understand how to properly lift. And I'll give you an example is lateral raises. A lot of women will do that with their traps, not their shoulders, but with their traps. But if you're like, well, how do I know whether it's traps or shoulders? Well, you're going to need professional guidance, or, well, really, unless you know something before that, you actually need someone to help you. How do you deactivate your traps to then hit the shoulder line better, right? Another example is RDLs, Romanian deadlifts. Romanian deadlifts are very easy to overstress your lower back. When you go down on that deadlift and use your low back, when it should be an extension in your hip to achieve the glute and hamstring activation. But if you don't know, how do you work on it? Now, last week I did a live on mindset, and I haven't released this clip yet, but I might release it. And it was a clip that says, you don't know what you don't know, and therefore you need someone who knows, who can tell you so. And it's all about blind spots. And Debbie, I can't do them. Yeah, your deadlifts that you're doing in my program. So why I bring this up is because, like, unless you already have base on technique of the move, how are you ensuring that you're doing it right and properly, right? And I have been training for many years, and I know there's competitors like Zena, you're a coach as well, like who have been training many years, and even us going to our coaches can tell us something to improve on, right? So I think this comes back to if you want good results, you can spend all this time doing lateral lifts, get nice shoulders. You can try to do all these deadlifts, trying to work your glute, but your glute is just not building. A lot of it is technique, right? You're just not hitting into the range. You're emphasizing the wrong thing, right? And Zena says always something to improve, right? And I've just seen so many people, for example, I'm giving you examples because I want you guys to have a picture around why technique is really important. Okay. A lot of women say they cannot build their glutes. And then I watch them do their squats, and they're not realizing that at the bottom of their squat, they're butt winking. Tracy Leong, I can't think of anybody else, but Tracy Leong, when I worked with her initially, her butt kept winking at the bottom. And it's like, when you wink your butt at the bottom, there is many reasons why, but you're not activating into your glutes. So you could do 1,000 squats. You'll have stronger legs, that's for sure. but you just are not going to hit that glute line the way you want it. And so this is why I say, like, you need to know your technique, and you need someone who knows those types of connections, technical things to help you with that. Okay. So the first part of do it right means know your technique. How many of you feel like you need better technique? Like, just listening, you're like, oh, I don't know if I do my deadlifts right, or do I butt wink at the bottom of my squat? Do I, this, like, how many of you feel like you need better technique? Put better technique below. And I'm gonna tell you too, like, even Clarice, like, because I've been training for a long time, I have different coaches, but when I went into Olympic lifting and the depth of how far I had to drop down into my Olympic lift, I had a little bit of butt wink until I was told. And I'm a coach. Does that make sense? Like, even I needed someone to go, hey, wait, hold on, right? So a butt wink means that instead of your butt sticking out on the bottom of a squat, it tilts, the pelvis tilts under, and you won't know that unless you look in the mirror, unless you have someone who is observing you on that, right? So if you believe you need better technique, put better technique. I see Tracy saying that, Maricela, Sandy, and Diana. And yeah, Diana, I've been working with you a lot on technique, and it's definitely improving, right? So so the second part of the D is do it hard, and then do it in your mind. So here's the caveat on this, okay, is you can't do something harder if you don't have the right technique. So what I mean by that is, yeah, you can push harder. If you have the wrong technique and you push harder, first, you'll have ineffective results. And two, you are risking injury, right? Yes, Zena, filming yourself. Yeah, a lot of my clients, Zena, in the MA muscle accelerators are filming things for me to correct and all of that. So that's, yeah, exactly. Filming helps a lot. And the mirror, but not always, because the mirror means you have to turn your head, which isn't always good, right? So, but doing it hard, you need to have the right technique base to do it harder. So if I told, I'm just thinking like Diana, because I guess, yeah, Diana, I was just doing like form checks with you, but like if you were doing certain things like harder, let's just say the row, like she's doing these single arm rolls. Okay, we're working on single arm rolls and where I want her to contract her back. And she just does it harder without like contracting her back. And she's just like pulling harder because Clarice said, do it hard. You can see how that's ineffective. She's pulling the weight harder. She's pulling it even higher past the range of her back. And it's not even actually activating her back anymore. It's gone beyond the range of her back. She just pulled it too far. So unless she understands the technique on how she needs to squeeze in her back and then progress it harder, it's going to be wrong. Does that make sense? So this is why you need to do it right, do it hard in that order, know your technique, then progress it properly, and then do it in your mind. Right. So I'll answer your questions here, Claire and Rosalind, in 1 second. So do it in your mind is the third part of it. Is you need to know your technique. You need to know how to progress and push harder. And then you need to do it in your mind, meaning you need to think about that move and what muscle it's working. And that's very important because your body can actually send additional signals and neuron recruitment to that muscle to have greater muscular and neural recruitment because you think of that, because you know, and your mind is thinking of that muscle. There has been studies done around like people, like different bodybuilders and people, athletes, lifting a lot lighter weights than you would think normally, but they created more mind muscle connection, more contraction in the muscle, more deliberate holds in the weight, and they had still equal or greater muscular activation. I'm not saying don't lift heavy. I believe in lifting heavy. I'm just saying that the mind body connection is very, very important. Yeah, Portia says that exactly. So it's three things you need to keep in mind: is do it right, do it hard, and do it in your mind. Claire says poor technique can lead to injuries. Exactly. Yes. And can injuries result in butt wink? So yes, Rosalinda, because your hip is now pelvic tilting underneath instead of staying out, right? So under light load, nothing is going to really happen. Under high loads, yes, you're going to have problems with your spine and your back, right? So it could lead to injury, exactly that. So so my first point on the first tip is you have to have proper strength training with right technique, right? So like I said earlier, if after you hear me speak about this and you're like, I don't know if I have right technique, or like, am I doing it right? And you need more guidance or help, put right technique below or technique below. And if you don't know, that is probably one of the first things you need to ask yourself. Like, are you getting results? You know, if you're not getting results and you're telling me, which a lot of women tell me this, like, I've been training for years, I go to the gym 5 days a week, and still there's no sculpted muscles, then it's telling me something is off, right? I always go back to this point, and I know, Zena, I know that you're a coach. I've seen amazing results. You probably help your clients amazingly. It's like, you know, like if someone has results, it's like, great, they keep doing what they do. It's awesome. But if they don't have results, it's like, you're doing something wrong. Do you have blind spots? Is there technique things you don't know that you need to work on? And it's just like being willing to admit that, right? So again, put technique if you feel like you need more help with technique, if you didn't put it above. I see Saritza, Valerie, Jody, and Monica joined in, 33 eyeballs. Awesome. Okay, so the second thing I want to talk about, second tip, is prioritize doing more free weight exercises over machines. So, and I'm going to explain this, okay? Using dumbbells, barbells, free like weights is a lot more effective for your body. I just see too often like women are just sitting on the circuit, you know, where they go from machine to machine to machine, and it's okay, better than not working out, but you're not going to get your maximal results. Your best results are usually going to come from using more of your body. When you use free weights and like, you know, dumbbells and barbells and things like that, you challenge your core more, you challenge your stabilizer muscles more. And as you age, all the women on here, you need to work on your core and stabilizer muscles more, right? Do you know what is one of the highest risk for older people? I think you guys know, falling, right? And breaking a hip. And usually if you fall, you break a hip and things like that, then things decline really fast. As you age, you particularly want to emphasize on core stability, stabilizers, working with free weights a little bit more, right? Zena says, exactly, there needs to be an audit of what you're doing. Exactly. Yeah, awesome. And so a lot of you may already use the free weights and dumbbells and barbells. Some of you may be a little bit intimidated by that, and I get why you may sit on the machines. But if I had to be honest with you, like, I guess it depends on your desire for your results, right? But like as a previous competitor, Zena as a competitor, like we know you're just not going to get as great of a result. You're just going to have more like average results, kind of like just sitting from circuit to circuit. And if you want great results, then get some help to learn how to properly use like a squat rack, how to properly use your dumbbells, how to properly use your barbells, how to like really utilize full body. You want to, when you work full body as well, remember it will burn more calories at once. And as you age, it becomes harder and harder. You know, fat accumulates faster due to hormones and the way, you know, the way you eat, all this stuff. But a lot of it is the hormone shift that's causing a big shift in the fat distribution. So with that being said, you want to burn maximal calories every time. Every time you go to the gym, you want to burn more calories. So use more free weights and things like that, and learn how to do that by getting some help. Okay. There is some exceptions. So let me talk about this. Some of you are like, wait, I use machines. Okay. So the exception is like, if you can't do a pull-up, of course, you can go use the pull-up machine. That helps, right? I can't be like, you just go and do a pull-up right now. No, of course. Like there's certain machine makes sense. You use the pull-up machine, Smith machine for certain isolated activities for maybe your legs. And if you have injuries, then that is also an exception. I understand that if you have injuries, sometimes it's way safer to do it on a machine, but in general, that's where I would suggest is prioritizing learning more about dumbbells, barbells, free squat racks, things like that. Okay. Yes, exactly. Zena says you have some people who have injuries. Exactly. So like, that's kind of my exception is like, if you have injuries, we will always help modify to help you get there. I'm just saying for people who can, like if they have a choice to do free weights or sit on the machine, I would definitely encourage you on free weights, right? Hi, Leonora and Terry and Lynn and Marlene, you guys popped on in. So let me have a show of hands. How many of you guys prioritize more free weights or do you do more machines? Put it below just so I know. Do you use free weights or do you tend to use more machines? So yeah, just let me know on that. And it's not that like sometimes we don't jump on machines. I'm sure, Zena, you do too. I do jump on the machines near the end, like to really really make that muscle work it out. But like really my bigger movers are always going to be free weight training, always, right? So free weights, home gym, free weights, good mixture. Good. I'm seeing lots of free weights. That's excellent. That's really good to see. Terry, oh, thank you. You're so sweet. And cables. Cables are good. I'm going to talk a bit about cables soon here as well. Awesome. So I'm seeing that. That's great. Okay. The third tip is focus on big compound exercises. Okay. So, I'm going to describe this a little bit more. So meaning big compound movements means big movements that is multi-joint movements like squats, deadlifts, lunges, like big movements. And why you want to focus on big compound movements is that, well, first of all, for most of us getting older, it's like you tend to sit more, you tend to have more responsibilities, you're driving more, you're already not moving your body as much as like a little kid running around. So you really need to move everything, the joints, all of it, everything in your body, get yourself mobile, all of that. And also the big compound movements gives you the biggest bang for your buck, meaning like it will help you hit more muscles and actually get better, activation of muscles, because your muscles can't grow unless it's been activated, right? So you need to activate all the muscles through compound movements and stimulate those growth hormones the right way. So why I'm speaking about this is because maybe it's not you, okay? But I do see a lot of women, they like, hey, I want to work my glutes. So what do? They go to the gym, they do a hip thrust, which is a pretty big movement, I guess, is a glute hip thrust, but it's still isolated to the lower. And then they do some bands and exercises with the bands, and they just keep working glutes. Like I have a gal at the gym and we're actually really good friends, but she's actually asking me a little bit about more moves because she's like, I keep working my glutes because I want to grow my glutes, but every time I come, I do hip thrusts. And I'm like, that is good, but you got to work other things too, because if you just work one thing, you're not building muscle in any other parts of your body. You're not building your upper body strength, your other like shoulders, again, metabolism wise, you will burn the most calories through working everything in your body, right? So just making sure you have big compound movements. And another example is like I see sometimes women say, I want to work my tricep. And then they're in the gyms, like, pumping their triceps. That's good too, but it's not enough. Okay. You are going to see more change in your body composition if you actually work everything else around it. You're going to see better metabolism, better muscle development, better hormonal profiling because you're working bigger muscle groups and all around. But I will say, if you're out of time, like as in like you have limited time, prioritize compound movements first. And then there is a place for isolated movements in your program as you want to refine on your physique and what you want to build. But if you are busy, you're a busy woman, you have lots going on, you only have this much time to exercise, I would suggest like big compound movements first, and prioritize that, and then put in the isolated movements nearer to the end, if you have time to really start to refine on your physique. Okay. So how many of you, really have big compound movements in your workouts? Put compound, or do you tend to isolate? Like, do you go to gym like, I want to work my glute, or you just go, I want to work my tricep? Do you have big compound movements, or do you tend to isolate, or you have a proper balance? You can put compound, isolate, or balance, right? So put that below. Good. You guys have big compound movements. Good, Maricela, Jennifer, awesome. So just keeping that in mind, again, sometimes I think like a lot of women do know that, like they will do the compound movements, but then I will kind of see sometimes or hear people say they're doing certain exercises and it's not really producing the results for them, right? So just to think about that. Balance, HIIT classes. So Wanda, in terms of HIIT classes, like the HIIT classes are good for like fast, slow, working quickly, intensely for 30 seconds and slowing down. But that does not necessarily mean you're actually building muscle. So just be cautious of that, Wanda. It's not necessarily mean you're building muscle. Just make sure it's actually a strength training workout, right? Janice, I try, but I get stuck on cardio. And Janice, that's actually something I'm going to talk about next, is like a lot of women do get stuck on cardio and they're not actually really getting into these big lifts and all of that, right? So yeah, awesome. Thank you for all the, and always start big, Lacey. Awesome. Yeah, for all the contribution here. Awesome. Okay, so the next one, this is something I really want to talk about, is the next tip is have a safe and properly progressed workout program. Okay, so I said safe and properly progressed workout program, okay? So I'm going to go back to, nothing is worse than going to the gym, working hard, and not getting results. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and not getting and expecting different results, right? So you're trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting results when you already, like, this shows you is not getting the results, right? So it depends on your goal, right? It depends on your goal that, yes, Zena, I know you have a plan for sure. It depends on your goal, right? So I can't tell you this is the perfect program until I know your goal, right? Because a perfect program for me, maybe doing Olympic lifting or powerlifting, is not going to look the same as yours in sculpting or bodybuilding or whatever, right? And so it depends on your goals to have your perfect program. But I am going to speak to hypertrophy, okay? The word hypertrophy means building bigger muscles. Typically, it's involved in the bodybuilding world. And typically, it's kind of what I like to specialize in with the women I coach, because as you age, you want to work on building more muscle, more muscle size. So hypertrophy programming, meaning building sculpted muscles, you have to ensure that your program is well balanced, okay? So with proper programming, you need to make sure it's well balanced. Is it hitting everything in your body? Is it hitting your, shoulders, your back, your chest, your legs, your hamstrings, your glutes, your calves, your shoulders? Is it a well-balanced program? A lot of times I would say, like, if you're just following something random or a YouTube or something like that, it may be a good workout program, but it may not be well balanced. So you really want to make sure it's a well balanced program. You want to ensure, as I said above, that it has compound and isolated movements, compound being a more important prioritization first, and then moving to isolation. Right? So, and then you want it to make sure that your programming actually helps you work on strength, balance, mobility, and flexibility. Okay. So say that again. You want to ensure that your program helps you with strength building, core, your abs, your core, balance, mobility, and flexibility. Okay. So So you have to ask yourself, okay, is this program properly designed that way? Does it hit all those things that helps me be the most fit that I can be, right? Because if you have lots of strength, not a lot of core work, we're in trouble, because we know a weak core is going to ultimately lead to injury, right? If you do a lot of strength, sit there moving weights, but don't work on your balance, like I mentioned earlier, you are also kind of potentially going to be injured more easily, or you're just not going to have as great movement and ability to push harder in your workouts, right? So, and also in your programming, because we're talking about proper programming, does it combine components of strength training, HIIT, and cardio? So Jernica, you say you get stuck on cardio. So you want to make sure that it actually can balance all three. I did say prioritize strength training because women at this age need to prioritize strength training, but it does not mean that you don't do cardio. Okay. You need cardio because it works your heart, and then HIIT training is one of the ways to help your body boost its like metabolism and burn fat a little bit more effectively. So you want to have a program that kind of will hit all three really, really well. And so like you have to ask yourself, okay, does this program hit those things for me? Now, what I will say is, again, I'm speaking it a little bit from the hypertrophy bodybuilding world. You know, there are different programming for like Olympic lifters and power lifters, but like from a standpoint of like for you, for all the women on here who want to build sculpted muscles, and at menopause in sort of this stage of life, you want to have these components in there pretty dialed in. Okay, so let me ask all of you who are listening, is your program properly balanced? So if it's not properly balanced, I want you to put programming below. And one of the things I would say for you is like, kind of evaluate where your program came from. Like, put programming if you feel like you need help, but yeah, like, because I see some people saying yes, but make sure you put the word, otherwise sometimes we don't know what you mean when we come back around. But yeah, put programming if you feel like you need better programming. But I guess why I say this is like, you want to evaluate like, like who gave you the program? Like, is it a guy? Now, nothing wrong. Amazing trainers and guys. I have a lot of trainers that are guys. I'm not saying that's bad. I think I'm just more like evaluate it, because sometimes they may be building your program in a way that isn't exactly the way you want to look, if that makes sense. And how they're structuring out that programming will affect you. Certain moves like rows, and lat pull downs and things like that is going to help you have better shape. But rows are going to develop thickness in your back. Did you know that? You have to understand what is it trying to do in your structure and the look of your body. You have to know, like, why is this person putting this move in there? And I just think like, but there are some trainers that are guys that are amazing. Like, I'm not saying that. Like, some guys really know, and they know how to sculpt and build that woman's body. But it's like, where does it come from? Or is your trainer? I've known another trainer who's trained by a power lifter, and she is strong, but she never could look sculpted. And I said to her, because we had this conversation years ago, I said, well, like, you're going to get strong for sure working with a power lifter, but they're not going to program in a way that knows how to sculpt your body. That is a different training methodology, right? So I think you have to evaluate, where does your program come from, or did you pull it off of YouTube? And what is the purpose of those workout programs on YouTube? Is it just to help you exercise and get fit? Remember, exercising and getting fit is not the same as being sculpted. You guys hear that? Exercising and getting fit does not mean you're going to get sculpted. You can exercise and do small weights and like punch the air with the weight and do all of these like weight cardio based exercises, but that's going to get you healthier moving and exercising. I'm happy for you. That's not going to specifically sculpt you. So you need to have specific sculpting based exercises, right? So it's like making sure we understand this difference. Yeah, good point, Janice. I'm glad that makes sense. So I see a lot of people saying programming. Yeah, if you feel like you need better programming, definitely put that below. And I'm going to build on this a little bit. We're still on the same point, but I also said on this point, I said have a safe and properly progressed workout program. So the second component of that statement is progressed workout. So proper progression is really important, right? So a lot of times people feel like I need another workout program. And like it's like, okay, if I'm doing this after a while, I need to switch to another program and I need another move and I need another thing to work on. And progressing does not mean another programming, and it does not mean more variety. Okay. Clarice program will definitely sculpt you. Well, Jennifer, we got to post that like flex photo you have. I still haven't done that yet. If she sent me a flex photo a few weeks back. Okay, so we're going to go back to this point. Progression does not mean variety or another programming. Progression means that if you have a proper program, do you understand how to work at that same program and make it more difficult or improve on it? And I see this really often that a lot of people, they get bored or they like don't want to do that workout program anymore. And then they jump over to another programming, but they have not mastered the technique of the current program. My current MAs, you guys are kind of there. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you cannot do your Bulgarian split squat very well and with the right technique, you jumping to another move is not necessarily going to help you more when you should have just been working on bettering your technique in the Bulgarian split squat. Or if you don't know how to row properly and to activate the muscles in your back, why are you changing the move of the row of the back when you haven't actually learned how to properly isolate into the back muscles and hold the right contraction and all of that? And so this is something I know my MAs, my muscle accelerators, I work with you guys a lot on, right? I'll say like, hey, Tracy Leon, if you're on here, I just did like, she sent me a bunch of videos last week. I had trouble getting back to her, but I like went through like 25 of her videos that she sent me and went through it. And one of the things I kept saying to her is like, slow down your movements. She's just going at it so fast. I'm like, you're just not even getting it into the muscle group right now, And so I could build her another program, put her on another program. It's not going to help her. She didn't master the moves in this program. Right. And I see a lot of thumbs up hearts come in. Hi, Sarah. Good to see you. So I think this is where I really want you guys to understand is like, are you properly progressing your current workout? And it's not just about, a lot of people tell me, oh yeah, I'm progressing it, increase weight, increase reps, increase sets. That's fine. You can increase reps, sets, and weight. If you do it not correctly, then all that doesn't help as much. It helps a little. Okay. There is a reality. You're using that muscle more. It does help a little bit, but proper progression, to be honest, one of the best ways for proper progression is advancement of technique. If you can get better and better at advancing the level of technique in your movement, the more you're going to hit that, the more that you're going to like, wow, I really feel like my glute. I did an MA, I think a technique class, this was 2 months ago, and we were working on where we do our holds and also like how much they're moving into that muscle. And all of them were like, oh, I feel like my chest muscle, like I've never felt before. And so it's advancement of technique that actually is going to really help you. Of course, increasing weight, rep sets will help, but progression, I always want you to keep in mind, does not mean more variety. It means advancing in the current exercises that you're doing. Okay. So I want to ask all of you, like, how many of you feel like you have, you feel like you need better proper progression? So if you feel like you need better proper progression in your workout, put proper progression or progression below. This, I would say, like, if you've been working at your workout program for a while, like past 2 to 3 months, but you haven't changed anything, I would start to think about that. Okay. There is a caveat. I always have a caveat. All right. Okay. Here's my caveat. If you have been not consistent, then you shouldn't change it. No, you haven't been consistent. So the first thing is get consistent, correct? Get consistent first. But if you have been consistent, but you haven't changed your workout for 2 to 3 months, then you need to think about, how do I have to progress this? How do I have to make this so that I'm not going to get the same results and go for a year without really seeing any solid results? Okay. And progression does not mean variety. So put below if you feel like you need better progression below for yourself. Okay. And obviously that you'll know. If you don't see results in your body, you don't see your body changing, then you'll know, right? So Portia says technique is the foundation. Had to learn that the hard way. Exactly. Otherwise, you might get injured and all of that, right? All right. So 29 eyeballs still on here. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with me. All right. So number 5, 6, and 7, I feel like are kind of all connected. So it's sort of the ones that people may not think as important, but they are important. So number 5 is having proper warm up and cool downs. Obviously, this is very like logical. Like you don't go to the gym and just jump into your workout. So making sure proper warm ups really prevents injuries, really warms up your muscle and prepares you to push harder in your workouts for muscle gain. I always say that dynamic warm ups are good. Dynamic movements are good for the beginning, and static stretching is better at the end. So dynamic warm-ups that using mobility through your joint movements, hip swing, leg swings, arm circles, things that are moving the mobility of your joints is better for warming up. And then static stretching is always better at the end. But just making sure you have proper warm-up and cool downs, okay? Because it does affect how hard you can push and preventing injury. Okay. So Journey says better progression consistency. Yeah. So we'll reach out to you. And Wanda says, I always keep going till I feel I've mastered my technique. Yeah, Wanda. And I guess my question for you, Wanda, is how do you know you've mastered your technique? Like, where is your reference point? And that's the same for everyone watching now, okay? Everyone watching, when you say you've mastered your technique, what does that mean? Is it you feel like it's better, or you actually know objectively and have it verified by professionals that actually it is actually technically correct, right? Diana says, I almost did exactly that, nearly started exercising without warming up. And thank you, Diana, for putting that, because even though this is a simple point, I actually think a lot of people forget this. They're like, I'm out of time. Let's just jump in the gym. Let's start to work out. And then they go at it and it's suddenly they're like, oh, I tweaked this. Oh, something hurts. And now you can't work out for like the next week here because you didn't properly warm up and properly cool down. How many of you, I mean, and I've been guilty of this, although I've tried really hard not to, but we all have been there where you're like, okay, I've done my workout. It's been a while. I've got to get out of the gym. And then you don't cool down. And you don't cool down, you don't allow for your body to not only relax, but also allow for better oxygenation of your muscle. Like when you stretch and let blood flow kind of move better through and get the lactic acid moving better through your system, you're going to recover less. You're not going to recover as well, right? So proper warm up and cool down. And the next point, number 6, is connected. So number 6 is proper rest and recovery. Okay. But warm up and cool down is not the same as rest and recovery, but it's connected. So as you age, rest and recovery becomes more and more important. Okay. I'm sure all of you guys notice that maybe your body doesn't recover as fast. Okay. You should allow at least about 48 hours between working from one muscle group to the next, to that same muscle group again. So that's why proper programming is really important, ensuring that someone knows how to design your program in a way that if you did work out the next day is not hitting exactly the same muscle group, and you give that muscle 48 hours of time to recover, right? If you're really sore or you're really fatigued, one of the things I would say at this age is you do want to listen to your body a little bit, because your body's not recovering as fast. So if you're extremely sore, extremely fatigued, sometimes you may want to take an extra day of rest. And hi, Anasia, good to see you. And you want to ensure that you get enough sleep. And I know at this point, menopause, a lot of women struggle with sleep, but making sure you do get adequate sleep and have set bedtime routines is really important, because your body has trouble recovering at this age and with all the situations happening in your body. So this is really crucial. So sometimes we, as women, we want to work out more. And I would say when you're in menopause, or going to that age range, sometimes you want to, less is more. Sometimes less is more, and not overtraining your body, not spiking your cortisol like crazy and overtraining your body, because then that sometimes will take away not only your gains, but also like your, it's like it's going to imbalance your hormones. Okay. So what do I mean by this? We're going to talk a little bit about being at this age, okay, and what happens. So first of all, when you are 40 plus and you are starting to go into menopause, cortisol and inflammation becomes more systemic responses in your body than before, more than before. Cortisol is the stress hormone and it's connected to inflammation. Now, aging process itself is by nature inflammatory, meaning your body by nature is inflamed and producing more inflammatory cytokines and things like that, just by aging, just the natural process of aging. But as you age, you also have something that drops, which is estrogen. Estrogen is your inflammation protector. And because your estrogen starts to drop off, you actually have less and less protection from inflammation. This is why, for those of you who work with me, and I work with you in nutrition and food and all of that, we address inflammation at a very high level, because you can't afford to not address inflammation. You've lost the barrier, the protector, because your estrogen is dropping. Okay. So you lost your inflammation protection. And as estrogen drops, estrogen aids in muscle repair and recovery. So before, you can recover a lot faster, before you could get back to the gym a lot quicker, but it's a lot harder for you to get back to the gym when you have less estrogen. So this is why you have to really prioritize rest and recovery, because you just don't have the hormones to support it. And as I will talk about later, is why you need to really, really dial in bringing down inflammation. Because if your body is being inflamed with a lot of foods and things that you eat, and you're trying to go work out, and then the body is inflamed, it's going to have a hard time building muscle. So it's going to affect your rest and recovery. A lot of you tell me like, oh, I'm not recovering as fast. I can't sleep. I'm sore all the time. This is kind of partially why a lot of hormones are actually changing. And so you have to really ensure you know how to properly plan in your rest and recovery at this point in your life. Okay. So can you guys put rest and recovery below if you feel like, you know what, I didn't know rest and recovery is that important, or I need to prioritize rest and recovery more. And if you have a good program, the coach would have actually properly put those things in programming for you. They already would have thought of that for you. So how many feel like you need better rest and recovery? Because you didn't know that at this point in your life, your hormones are actually needing you to be more diligent with your rest and recovery, right? Janice, I see that. Yes, hi, Anasia, I see the hello. And Lacey says, I walk and move my arms between sets. Okay, yes, that's good, Lacey. But rest and recovery, if we're on the same topic, is you would actually rest, like take time to rest and recover from working out, right? From actually working out. I see Dana, rest and recovery. So put rest and recovery, especially another thing as you guys are coming in with rest and recovery, is I will tell you, if you are extremely sore, for days and days and days, and fatigue, and just feel like you can't recover from your workout, you can't push as hard, which a lot of women in menopause tell me this, it is telling you there's a sign of something. Now, I'm not talking about DOMS. I'm not talking about the regular muscle soreness after like 48 hours, you pushed hard, you should be sore in your muscle. We all know that you need a little bit of muscle tear to be sore, right? But I'm saying like, it's like for days and days, and the pain is in the joint. How many of you feel like you have joint pain? Put joint pain below if you feel like you have joint pain. Now, why I say this is because I talk to a lot of you, and like that isn't totally normal. Aging, no matter what, you're going to get a little bit, but if you have a lot of joint pain, it is telling you you have inflammation. You have inflammation. Can I say it a third time? You have inflammation. You need to address that. Was it Wanda Roy in my 21-day anti-inflammation system? She's a group fitness instructor, and she told me she's always sore. She always has joint pain. She always was like, she just couldn't recover. And she went through the 21-day anti-inflammation system, and she's like, oh my gosh, like I'm not in pain all the time. I'm not sore all the time. I thought that's just how I'm supposed to feel. Like, no, that's not how you're supposed to feel. There's a difference between DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, which is normal for muscles, and being like joint pain, sore, can't really do much. That is telling you that you have inflammation, and that needs to be addressed. That needs to be addressed because your body is, by nature, by aging and menopause and drop of estrogen, it's actually breaking down your body, right? Now, can you ever completely slow down aging? No. But if you address inflammation, it's actually helping you slow down aging in many ways. It's stopping the process in its footsteps, right? So address inflammation, okay? And Portia says working with you, Clarice, is not as bad as it used to be. Good, Portia. The joint pain, right? It's improved a lot because you went through the 21-day program. Journey says I used to be a runner, so my knees are sore all the time. I stopped running years ago, though. Yeah, so if it was from previous injury, that might be reality. But still, if you tend to wake up with a lot of joint pain, or in the morning, you're just waking up like feeling so stiff, it means you have inflammation. So I want you to put inflammation, if that's something like you're like, I really need to address this. I need to address inflammation in my system. It's going to be hard for you to build muscle if you do not address chronic inflammation in your system. So put inflammation below if you are struggling with that. Okay. Hi, Jolene and Penny. Thanks for jumping in. All right. So that was like, yeah, put inflammation if you want to work on that. So number 7, I see Anasia and Janice putting inflammation there. Awesome. So number 7, again, it's related to all the points above, but I'm highlighting it again. So you want to make sure that you include mobility and flexibility work in your recovery days. Okay. Rest days means you don't do really anything. Recovery days means you still do something, but it's a lot lighter. Okay. So mobility and flexibility work is extremely important. A lot of women skip this. And mobility work means that you are actually working that joint through the range of motion, right? The ball and socket. So having like dynamic drills, like a lot of my clients, you guys have the dynamic exercises that I give you. The dynamic movements through the joints is really important. And then flexibility is different than mobility. So mobility is more the joint. Flexibility is how far can your muscles actually stretch all the way. Okay. You need to regularly push your muscles to stretch all the way and back and all of that, because if you don't, that's when injury is going to happen. Something's going to snap. Something's going to not move right. And why is that? Well, first of all, estrogen is lower. and your muscles just do not have as good recovery. But two, you're more sedentary. Usually as you age, you're just a little bit more like sitting, driving, doing things, and you sit in certain positions, you lock up in your hips, you shorten your hamstring muscles, and then you go and try to do a big squat or some deadlifts, and then suddenly you're like, oh, why does my back hurt? Or why does certain things hurt? So just making sure that you do prioritize mobility work as well as flexibility work, which is something, again, it's in my programs already built in. If you're already on the program, you'll see that it's already in there. But other things that you can do is like foam rolling, yoga, regular stretching, all that kind of stuff. So FFF program, my group coaching program, that's why you have your yoga sessions with Brooke, because we want to make sure all the muscles that you're working on, you can properly stretch out afterwards, right? Yes, tomorrow's mobility and flexibility day for you. Exactly. Yes. And I put that into the 5-day challenge. You noticed that, right? If you read my 5-day challenge, the Thursday is a rest recovery day. And I do that because I'm trying to show you like how you need to properly sequence your entire workout regime properly, right? To get the best results. So how many of you feel like you need to work on mobility and flexibility? Put it below. And I want you to be honest, because I feel like a lot of people actually don't prioritize this. They don't really. They may do a 10-minute warm up and go work out, but they don't actually like really work on their mobility drills, mobility things, or flexibility, and really stretch more into their muscles. So put mobility and flexibility if you feel like, you know what, I need to actually make more effort to schedule this in to my workouts and so on and so forth. So put mobility and flexibility. Okay. All right. Thank you. I see 25 eyeballs still with me. Awesome. We have 2 more points to cover. So hang on here. These last 2 are good ones. Let me tell you. I see a lot of mobility. See, people are honest. It's because I've been training a long time, and I know a lot of people do not do mobility and flexibility. They do the workouts, and then a lot of women like to either skip the cardio or skip their flexibility, mobility stuff. And that is really important for your results. Okay. Number 8 is very important. So I said this is like top workout tips for women over 40, right? So you may be like, well, this is not a workout tip, but it is a workout tip. Ready? You got to know your menopausal nutrition. Okay. This is a workout tip because without proper nutrition, you cannot build muscle and get the body recomposition that you truly want. So it is a workout tip, is having proper menopausal nutrition. And I named it this way because what you need at this stage in your life is a little bit different. And you have to understand your nutrition to make sure that this is proper. Okay. So you're going to hear this all the time. Of course, you need to have enough protein to support muscle growth and repair. Okay, so you know that you need more protein to get more muscle growth at this point. I've mentioned that a lot of women do not realize how little protein they actually eat until I start working with them, tracking with them, and they realize like, oh, I'm not even close. I'm not even close to what I'm supposed to hit. So first of all, you need to make sure you have adequate protein, but you also need to make sure you have the right backup of carbs and fat. Okay. So what I mean by that is a lot of times people think that protein is so important. It is, but if you don't have the right support of carbs and fat with it, you're taking away your legs, right? A stool cannot stand on one leg. Well, unless you're in the circus, I suppose, but a stool cannot stand on one leg. It can't really stand on 2 either, very wobbly. It is most stable with 3 legs, correct? 3 legs, the stool is super stable. So you need to have proper protein, carbs, and fat. Now, in menopause, as you age, lots and lots of research has been done on this, is that the woman's body and how you build muscle is very different from a man. You actually do not need as much carbs as you may think as you age and in building muscle. The woman's muscular response actually does better sometimes with fat, and the right amounts of fat can produce better potential responses and exercise responses. Okay, so if you understand your nutrition, you understand that the way you need to balance your macros in menopause is slightly different, and this is where I do see a little bit of a variance on like sometimes, again, male trainers, not all, I'm just saying sometimes they may not understand the woman's body, and they're assigning like really high carb loading to a woman, and it's like not really helping them right now, because at this point in their hormonal profiling, they may not need that. And it depends on the person too, of course. If the person is like one of my clients who really needs carbs, like she's the one that is very shredded, like I posted about her, who completely recompositioned her body. She did need a lot of carbs, but so it does depend on your body. But I'm saying typically women at this age in menopause, you need to watch your ratios of carbs and fat. They are a little bit different, and in training for more better exercise response, potentially a little bit more fat can be really helpful for you. And as well, understanding that as estrogen drops, okay, again, relating to hormones, as estrogen drops, your estrogen actually helps regulate muscle protein synthesis, okay? So when your estrogen starts to drop, you actually have a decrease in response of muscle protein synthesis. So meaning you actually cannot synthesize protein as fast. So you really have to understand where your levels of protein need to sit, where your carbs and your fat need to sit at this point in your life. As well, proper fat macros is very important for your hormonal profiling, for your nutrient absorption, which at this point you need certain like nutrients really well. Like I talked about this, like vitamin D and different things for muscle building. Those of you in my 21 day, you guys did my muscle sculpting masterclass. I talked about the specific vitamins that you really need for muscle building. So you need proper fats for absorption of a lot of the fat soluble vitamins, and you need proper fats to deal with the inflammatory response. Good fats can help you with the inflammatory response that is happening in your body. Okay. So with that being said, that means if you really want to get really good at building muscles at this point in your life, you have to know your menopausal macros. And I'm always going to get asked, what is my macros? My answer will always be the same. I have to get to know you before I can help you know your macros. It can't just be a pull something out of the hat and tell you what your menopausal macros are. There's a lot of principles on macros that you need to understand and the way they have to work together. I talk about the combination of macros, macro combo eating, the way you combine food together. This is going to be really important when it comes to body recompositioning, okay? It's, I think, more important, if I have to be honest, than just bulking or just shredding. I believe that bulking and shredding, you can go a little bit more extreme on like things like gaining weight, bulking or shredding, more limiting a whole bunch of things. I spoke about this on a live a few weeks ago. And it's just because that's one signal. But if you are looking for proper body recomposition, where you want someone to help you reduce fat and increase muscle at the same time, it's a dual response in your body. Is it harder to accomplish this? Yes. But this is why you need to have really good understanding of macros to make the adjustments and the dialing processes that will happen. Okay. So with that being said, with 28 eyeballs on here, I want you to put menopausal macros below if you feel like I need to know better my macros. I don't understand specifically the macros. Like, sure, I know macros like protein, carbs, and fat, but do you know your menopausal macros? So if you feel like you need to know better your menopausal macros, I want you to put menopausal macros below. And why I want you to specify menopausal macros is I want you guys to understand the macros you need at this point in your life is different than the regular person, is different than the 20-year-old, is different from your son, is different from your husband. So don't let them just be like, oh, that's easy. Macros is so simple. It's just like 50, 30, 20. Like, why is it so hard, right? When people say that, I understand where they're coming from, because you can be like, well, why don't you just do like 40% this, 30% that, and 20% that? It's like, it's so simple. Well, it's not that simple. If it was that simple, everyone would do macros, right? Because there's a lot of things between carbs, protein, and fat, and the ratio that affects your body, and the different interaction. Like when you eat carbs, what's the situation with insulin in your body? And when you combine protein and carbs together, what happens? When you combine carbs and fat together, what happens? When you put protein, carbs, and fat together at the same time on entry, what happens? So if you don't understand that, that's something you need to understand. Here's my caveat, if you want a really good dialed in physique for your body. If you're like, just like, you just want to like have a little bit just like average and sort of just be healthy overall, I can understand. You might not want to do macros. You just want to overall eat healthy. If you want to be dialed in, you want to have like nice sculpted muscles, you want to have really good body recomposition, then you want to really get onto those menopausal macros, right? So menopausal macros, put that below if you want more help on that. 31 eyeballs, you guys are awesome. Okay, I'm really enjoying this live with all of you. Okay. Hi, Gabrielle. Thanks for joining in. And Francis, I see lots of menopausal macros popping in. So we'll reach out to you. Number 9. Okay. So number 9 is like the wrap up tip of everything. Okay. It's kind of like the overall. Okay. You guys ready for this number 9 one? Okay. So number 9 is the best workout program is the one you can stay consistent on. Yes. Agree? The best workout program is the one you can stay consistent on. So this is my highlight workout tip. It doesn't matter if you have good technique, doesn't matter if you have the best program progression given to you. But if you cannot stay consistent on your program, it does not matter anymore, because the key to success in fitness is actually consistency. And I see this too much. People are like, want this new program and tell me this. And I said this on my last live, info beast, right? Becoming an info beast. You gather all this information. You are so knowledgeable about workouts and every move there is, but you're not consistent. And at the end of the day, if you're not consistent, I'm seeing everybody say, amen, agreed. Okay, agreed. Absolutely. Consistency is the key, right? So this means that you need to make sure you're strength training at least 2 to 3 times per week. 2 is a little bit low for me. 3 is like minimum. And if you're wanting some better results, I should see a little bit more if possible. Okay. But you should be strength training regularly. Yeah. And as I know that. I appreciate you being honest, but you, like you said, consistency is a struggle for you, right? And as so here's what I always say. I said this last live is you need, in order to gain consistency, you need a structured approach to your strength training. So you need structure, accountability, and systems. Because if you don't have that, it's like you can hear all the best tips in the world, but you're just not having any structure or accountability to keep you going at it. And going at it is the key. And so with the structure systems, okay, I'll just repeat some of the things I said above. In the structure system, you have to have a balanced approach in your programming. Someone who knows how to balance out working all parts of your body. They need to understand the difference between compound and isolated movements and how they build out your program. You need to have it properly programmed so that proper progressive overload can be made and proper progressive of technique can be delivered to you so that you understand how you can properly increase the difficulty. And you need to have proper monitoring of your progress. And the proper monitoring of your progress means someone is able to tell you, are you improving? Are you not? You are the worst person to tell yourself if you're improving. You tell yourself like, I think I'm improving. I think so. Am I improving? Really? Like, you can't see yourself. I said it last week. I need to release this video. I already have it ready, but it's the part in the last live I talked about blind spots. Blind spots are, you're blind to it. You don't know. That's why it's called blind spots. We all have them. I have them. I'm so grateful for my coaches. Like I'll tell you, like, well, I'm working on bigger bench presses. Like who knows, I might compete one day and benching, but I love chest presses, but like him talking about where I'm pushing my bench with what is the direction of the travel of that bar, and what he's noticing of how it travels, and what it's telling him about where my weakness is. I was like, oh, this is so fascinating, right? Because I always thought I was like weaker here or whatever. And he's like, actually, no, look at the pathway of how you push your chest press. This is why you're weak here. And I was like, huh, that's so cool, and can you tell Clarice is very excited about growth? Whenever I get to learn something new, I'm so excited. And so I was like, oh, that's so cool. I never knew that was my problem. This is how I'm going to get stronger in my chest presses and my bench, and so you need someone who is going to properly monitor your progress, and just please be a little bit more humble and understanding that you do not know everything. You need other people to help you be better. You're not good enough alone. And the ones who always are training alone who don't get help is why you get stuck all the time, right? So this is why I said this last week: get systems, structure, and accountability. If you have structure, systems, and accountability, sorry, I was not even looking here. People are saying, yes, need photos and measurements, to capture and track, right? Photos and measurements. Debbie says, thanks, Clarice, for all your expertise to share with us. Thank you, Debbie. So in terms of the structure, systems, and accountability, this relates to consistency, okay? If you find you are not consistent, which 29 eyeballs, I am guaranteeing you, a lot of you struggle with consistency, okay? You know a lot. You might even know how to eat healthy. You might even know a lot of exercise moves, but you are not where you want to be because you are not consistent. So my overall wrap up tip for top workout tips is get structure, systems, and accountability, and that the best workout program is the one you can stay consistent on, right? So if you struggle with this and you know it, put structure and accountability below because you know you need it, okay? Put structure and accountability below because you know you need it. And if you missed my last live on the Mindset Live, that is one of my most powerful lives. Apparently, this is what everyone's telling me. So I'm now calling it one of my most powerful lives. If you missed my Mindset Live last week, I want you to put mindset below so we can send you the free training, because that one really highlights why potentially you're stuck in a rut, why you're not seeing the results that you need. It's a bit of a call you out kind of live, but if you can take it. Tracy, are you on here? Was it you, Tracy? No, it was another. No, it was Rose who went into my transformation program. She said, I love that live. She's like, you were calling everybody out. And I was like, I hope they know it was out of love. And then she's like, it's okay. They can all pull up their girl panties. And I was like, oh my goodness. So there you go. If you can take it, you can take it. You want to watch my Mindset Live, drop mindset below. Okay. So anyways, hopefully that added value to all of you. Thank you all 29 eyeballs, and good luck to everybody in the free challenge on the end of the summer workout challenge. Continue on till Friday. And if you missed this workout challenge, you can put challenge below, then we'll mark you for the free challenge. And if you're listening to all this and you're just like, I need to learn more about her programs, put programs below and we will reach out to you. And honestly, sometimes it's just to talk with you. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but we need to know, if you want to know what kinds of things we can help you with, then make sure you put programs below. Okay. Awesome. Sending you all lots of love. Put below if this was helpful, this added value to all of you. And I will see you next week.